Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault episode 357, the retirement myth. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listening to replay. Just always feel free to subscribe and make sure you have all the notifications on so you can get our pop-up episodes such as this one. This is the Vault episode 357, the retirement myth. So, we definitely wanted to do an episode, this one in particular, the retirement myth, just because this has been a pronounced upcoming conversation continuously throughout conversations with consultations and trustees and the overall sentiment of the marketplace. We could go a lot of places with this episode, but we're going to do our best to stick to this concept of retirement, this concept that you're going to get to an age and then you're going to stop working and you're going to supposedly have enough passive income to live off, whether that's through the government, whether that's through yourself, whether that's through your kids, whether that's through additional sources, whether it's investments, whether it's the community at large. So, we're going to talk about this today because this is we could have named this episode so many things, but so many people have an issue with this concept of retirement, especially in America. America, after 1900, was pretty much branded that you were going to work 30 years and you were going to hope to retire after about 30 years. You got a pension with these newly started corporations in the country, big companies such as IBM. This is not financial advice or legal advice. Always have to put that announcement out there. This is definitely not financial advice or legal advice, but we're going to talk about how these companies, GE, these huge American companies had retirement programs built in, pension programs, matching 50 plus percent contributions, things of that nature. So we've left that age, ladies and gentlemen. This is 2021. This is not 1945. This is 1950. This is not 1960, where the retirement is the same. And so let's just start out with where this concept of retirement comes from. So this is the Mentors Education Us. Back in 1889, German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck came up with this idea called retirement. Those who are disabled from work by this age individually have a well-grounded claim to care from the state. So at this point, he implemented, and this is a German chancellor. He said, he took the average lifespan of people in Germany at the time, came up with a concept. Okay, we're going to give these people some type of what would be called disability insurance. So you see, disability is usually tied to Social Security, and we see even the Medicare aspect of it. So they understood this, quote unquote, in the government. It was lobbied for. It was passed. In the United States, 2021, they've kind of got it to like 65, 70. Who knows if they push it to 75 in these years. The United States, since they've instituted this program, it's pretty much said that the program is bankrupt. The people that are, the people that are, actually coming up in the later generations right now have heard this statement by the older people that have these policies put in place. They are not happy about that. They're not happy to hear that. They're not happy to hear that they're paying into a fund right now that possibly may not be solvent for themselves. The younger generations, anyone after 1975, for the most part, 1980, that's actually been working. These individuals are not excited about the prospects of retirement with Social Security and the government. They've already firmly instilled this in their mind. They feel like they did not get a proper financial education. That's why we've seen financial education pop up in the States so heavily over the past 20 to 30 years. When you see a Robert Kiyosaki come out with a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad and changes the face of literally doing interviews on Oprah at the time about financial literacy, knowing that he is addressing an issue that is intentionally instituted in the society. It's almost asking you, why do you have a financial planner? Why do you have a financial consultant? Because the education was not provided in the public school system. Oh, there's a securities this and a securities that and a securities this and a license for this and a license for that. Oh, it's licenses now to just have a basic financial education. People after 1970 easily have saw the downside. They saw the downside of what it looks like to not be able to properly retire, partially because of taking care of their parents, partially because of taking care of the kids. The people that were born from the 60s and 70s are the sandwich generation. They're taking care of their elderly parents. They're taking care of their younger children they had in the 80s and in the 90s. If they're not, the people from younger generations are focused on taking care of themselves. So we talk about the baby boomer generation and we talk about the generation X, but what about the millennials? You ask the average millennial, do you think you're going to retire on Social Security? They'll tell you no. One out of two of them will tell you no. So how is this program, retirement through Social Security, available to them? They're very aware that it's not available to them. They almost do not care about the program. They are living through what's called mediocrity. Whether you know it or not, they are living through what's called mediocrity because they understand the system that they are in is broken. They said they were supposed to be the best country in the world, the United States. For some odd reason, their retirement system's broken. Their parents are taking care of their grandparents. They don't even want to, the millennials don't want to take care of their parents unless they have to. Millennials are what? 80 and later. So we get to this group now that are having less children. They're looking to focus on financial literacy. That's why you see the boom in financial literacy, financial education, all these different so-called programs to help you get rich. You're seeing all these so-called apps. See, the millennials said we're gonna subvert the system, which was wrong. You cannot subvert the system. The system's been in place for hundreds of years. Don't think just because you were born in a period of time where you got the computer, you're gonna be the system that's been in place for hundreds of years. Hundreds. What what makes the internet so superior to moving around on a boat? Oh, the time that it takes. Right. That's what they're gonna say. As though it's the time frame and how fast we can do transactions and how fast we can do business. We can do business, cross-border business, and we can do business in other places and all this other stuff. You know how long boats have been around? That just be practical for a second. Do you know how long boats have been around? And you think that the internet is going to subvert boats? This is the flaw of the younger generations of thinking that they can change the systems that, for the most part, have enabled their freedom of choice. Their freedom of choice was laid down in laws previously. The system is in the states is a free market society from the beginning. And the policies that people are instituting right now, are they to give you a greater freedom? When you talk about the age of censorship, how is it that the First Amendment principle is being blocked by companies? Well, because they do have a right to their own privacy, but they're also in a public platform, the World Wide Web. So this is the system that these younger generations think that they can beat the system. That's how you know you're not for money, because money sticks to the system that's in place. Free market capitalism has literally allowed the Americans to travel around the world, create companies in other countries right now. How is that bad? There are other countries you cannot leave just to do business. There are many of them. So this is why we can talk all day about this, because this is why we see now people want to leave free market capitalism and they want to go to this shareholder capitalism. Hold on, you still have capitalism, but it's shareholder? You see how they subverted the system once again? This new group wants to subvert the system that's been working for hundreds of years to enable you right now for free choice. Do you have the choice? So let's go to the shareholder philosophy where we're all supposedly now created equal. Oh, now we are? Or do we? Shareholder capitalism. What does that look like? We're all going to retire with equal pay. We're all going to live in the same commons together at 65, like it was a boarding school for elderly people. Is that the guarantee that this stakeholder government, this stakeholder philosophy is going to give us? Is that what's going to happen? But oh no, no. So many young people know what a retirement myth is. And they're not looking to participate. So you see these new apps that are popping up right now all the time. Oh, you know, we're going to allow you to invest on this website or on this app. And you're going to, what, strike it rich, Americans? How have the younger generation that they knew they lacked financial education got duped? Because financial education, what was the issue? But guess what? The younger generation wanted to get rich quick. The younger generation saw their parents work for 30 years, and look what they ended up. They ended up probably having to take care of their parents. So, what do you think the younger generation wants to do? Take care of their parents or go live their best life? Travel around the world, something their parents weren't doing because they were working a job for 30 years at some plant, at some institutional business. Now people want to push this work from home business mentality. So that means there's more artificial intelligence, more technology. People want to get rich quicker. They've seen these billionaires. There's no value in being a millionaire to the younger generation. They think it's no value in being a millionaire. A true millionaire, one that actually has a million cash. They don't see that. They see the value in credit. They saw what their parents couldn't get via credit because they didn't build businesses. See, you get bigger credit lines when you have a business. The younger generation said, we cannot just do a full-time job. We have to do a full-time job and a part-time business. The younger generation knows that right now. The under 1980 crew knows that. And for the few that were born in the 70s that want to act like they know it as well, they're driving for Uber. They're driving for Lyft. They're doing Airbnbs on the properties if they had enough credit to go out and establish a real estate property. So now they can do an Airbnb and rent it out. We're not promoting any of these companies. We're talking about these companies indiscriminately. This is not financial advice, not legal advice. We're always going to sit here and tell you that because the younger generation knows that. They know that they've been given the disclaimer that they can succeed or fail. They were given enough data to know that they almost won't even get any retirement income from Social Security, or they know they won't be able to live off it fully. So they know they have to diversify their portfolio. They have to diversify their portfolio with other assets, with what's called other investments. That's what they're doing. They're seeking alternative education. Are they? Or are they seeking to get rich quick mentality? Because the older generation feels like time is up and they're trying to get rich. Off of what? A lottery ticket? Because you worked a job your whole life, now you got to play the lottery? And the younger generation, do they believe in the lottery? No. The younger generation is going to go start an online business now because it's so freaking easy. Oh, I'm going to start a business online selling eyelashes. I'm going to start a business online selling waist trainers. I'm going to start a business online selling t-shirts. Do you hear these common businesses that just go up? I'm going to go online. Here we go. The 180 crew that got the degrees, maybe the ones from the 70s that got the degrees, guess what they're selling you? A marketing course. Oh, I'm gonna show you how to increase your cell funnels because you're new to the internet. There's no way you can know this. There's a system to the internet, just like marketing over a TV or radio or anything else. There's a system to market on the internet. You just gotta touch people 7 times. You gotta do all of this stuff. You gotta get an email list. Just get an email list. I mean, do you think about it? Supposedly, the internet marketers messed up the internet already so bad. In 30 years, the internet marketers have messed up the internet where people have a thing called a spam box. Why do you think you have a spam box? Because the internet marketers. That's who. The internet marketers, they ruined the internet in 30 years already. Who do you think the largest companies over the internet are? Marketing companies. Google, Facebook, 70 billion plus in revenue year over year. And people want to sit here and say, oh man, what should I do over the internet? The marketing people, that's what they're doing. That's what the big companies are doing, right? The companies that are winning, they're doing what? Internet marketing. Yeah, they're doing internet marketing. Okay. Well, what comes after that? Because real estate's not on the internet, right? Unless they have digital real estate. What do they call this new thing now? The new metaverse? Not the universe. They want you to leave the universe and go to the metaverse. The metaverse? Where you can get a fake thing and a fake this and a fake that. Well, we got the fake news, so we might as well deal with this artificial intelligence. We might as well. That's not even real. People feel like artificial intelligence is going to take over. That's how you know you're done. The retirement myth. You think you can retire with an artificial intelligence trading your money? Who do you think's running that? A man? A woman? That's who's running that program, that algorithm. See, people are needed. Humans that are going to think, humans that are going to create change, humans that are going to put things in place. The humans are needed. But for some odd reason, people think that this new metaverse is supposed to be the bee's knees. Oh, you can get this, you can get that, you can get this, you can get that. But we just want to sit back and let this play out. People are pumping and dumping in a non-regulated asset so-called base market. But they want the government to give them retirement. How are you going to invest in a non-regulated environment and not expect the biggest swings of volatility? That's the worst part. The biggest swings of volatility are happening in these unregulated markets. That's not good. Because when you go to the regulated markets, you don't hear people say, oh, I just want 8 to 10%. No, I got to have 800%. I got to have 8,000% on my portfolio. I'm dealing with this unsecured asset. But then your parents didn't hold that. Who taught you to hold an unsecured asset? How is that proper financial education to have an unsecured asset? Is the mortgage, is the house secured? Through a deed? Through a contract? Through a security instrument? Oh, no. I didn't want to go learn that. I didn't want to learn what a security interest was. I didn't want to learn what a security document was. I didn't want to go associate with securities agents since I'm going to say I'm the financially literate. I'm going to the next level. I'm going to be the millennial that helps my family be able to take care of them in their elder years and not be a burden to me. It's the get rich quick mentality. You can see it again. Their parents are trying to get rich quick and you're trying to get rich quick. You think you're not trying to get rich quick when you're waiting for 800% returns? You can't even go to any portfolio manager on the stock market that's in a regulated industry getting those type of returns. And they're getting millions of dollars a year for their salary. You're paying them management fees to manage your money at the bank. You're paying them management fees to manage your mutual funds and your ETFs. You're giving them the money to do that. They're not even getting 800% returns. But you, the one that's so-called smarter in the situation, instead of actually consulting with a financial advisor, actually consulting with a financial planner, to have them on your team of financial advisors. What did the millennials do? Oh no, we're going to go to the internet. We're not going to go to the people. We're going to go to the artificial intelligence. We're going to go to the metaverse. We're going to go to the metaverse where the information is public and get this information pretty much like we were in public school again. We're going to do a non-bibliography essay. We're not going to cite our sources because there's no such things as facts anymore, right? There's no more facts with the numbers. There's no more facts when we're living in the what? Artificial intelligence. There's no more facts. It's only opinions. It's the internet, right? Everybody can tell you how to get rich quick. Supposedly, there's a million ways to skin a cat. Well, there is a million ways to skin a cat and then to retire properly. But there is a myth. The myth is that the government's going to be here to save you with Social Security. And most people know that that's a myth. That's not the sole source of income. So most people now are looking to diversify. But how are they going to diversify? Here we go. Here's the first dummy check. You ready? You hit somebody on their head. Doom, doom, doom. Let's knock in. Let's tap in real quick. So what do you think is the common area of interest when they say you're building wealth? It's definitely not the internet right now. Because when you go into the wealthy environments, most of them will tell you, most of the multimillionaires and billionaires are holding real estate. Actual real land, real property, real minerals. We don't want to just say real estate is housings because, or commercial real estate because what happened to real property? See, they don't want to talk about these terms. Art. You hear the rappers talking about collecting art. You hear everybody talking about the NFTs because they're trying to hold what? Value in property possession. Not just through art, but through property possession. They know that assets appreciate. So we don't just need to hold real estate. We're talking about art. We're talking about diamonds. We're talking about pearls. We're talking about collectible cars. All these rappers are talking about, or you these different celebrities or the different people are saying, oh, you got a nice car. You're not a nice car. Well, yeah, when you're getting a higher end car, it's actually handmade. When you're getting a Rolls Royce, when you're getting these cars are handmade. Oh man, they still make cars by hand? I thought the artificial intelligence did everything in the metaverse. Okay, they're handmade. Those cars are actual assets. The younger generation knows this. So they're looking to get into these NFTs. They're looking to get into this digital real estate, supposedly. They're looking to get into this this physical real estate. They're looking to get into these antiques, these cars, these diamonds, these pearls. They're looking to get into these assets. Why? Because that's not a job. Does a job provide retirement, adequate funding for retirement? No, and the younger generation knows that. It's not that they're just get rich quick. It's that they know that. They know that. Oh, that's how we're moving nowadays. We're gonna move into a place of uh we gotta diversify our portfolio. But remember, the younger generation forgot education's not free, baby. So just because the older millennials and the younger ones or whoever went to college and they had student loan debt, guess what, baby? The financial markets, they're unforgiving. The government may be. So the government gives out these so-called, what? Student forgiveness loans. The government gives out these student forgiveness loans so you can go back out and face the financial treacherous waters out here trying to diversify your portfolio before you get to retirement so inflation doesn't kill you. Because, oh, the millennials have been fed that the dollar's bad. Are you serious? The dollar's bad. The same dollar that you're condemning allows you to travel the world in peace. You think it doesn't? The dollar is accepted in other countries. How is it bad? Because they have anti-capitalist media that is a joke. And we have no problem at the vault sharing this with people at the vault, letting you know. If you don't wean yourself off of this financial treachery, Well, Judge Christian Nevada, I don't know the financial sources. I don't know the financial sources. Maybe it's good to hold your gunpowder while you still have it. What's wrong with savings? We know investors, but what's wrong with having gunpowder for your musket? What's the savings? The things we just talked about. The assets. Assets are a form of savings. But how can you acquire assets if you're going to Tulum, Mexico? How can you acquire assets if you're spending money, because it's a spend, going to Costa Rica? Are you acquiring property there? Is that a business trip or it's a vacation? Well, remember, the millennials, they don't want to miss out on their best years. So their 30s, they definitely felt if we had enough money by our 30s, we're going to live out our life. Well, guess what? You lost. Because savings is important just as much as having investments is. And guess what? Just like the stock market doesn't go straight up, neither does real estate go straight up. And your portfolio might not go straight up. Straight up. We're not saying it doesn't go up, but it doesn't go where? Straight up. So you think by taking off for 10 years to travel around the world, you think you're going to make it? What happens to your 40s and 50s? Do you still work? Oh, we're traveling still. Well, did you see your parents do that? Did you see your grandparents travel in their 30s and their 40s when they worked for these big major companies? You know, they had their 2 weeks in the vacation, right? Right? So do you get the 2 weeks in a vacation as a millennial? Even though you know Social Security's not there, they got the Social Security, right? Right, the olders did. But what about the millennials? They know that. They know that that's not there. The false pretense of Social Security taking care of them in any significant way, they know it's not there. So where are we now? We're at this place where the millennials are still trying to diversify their portfolio with these half-crack companies. What could you say to the millennials that should encourage them to move forward? Hey, you might not want to hear. You got to save some gunpowder. Probably 10% of every check. At least. It's got to be a permanent. That's a personal. What happened? They didn't read The Richest Man in Babylon. And if they did, they thought it was a joke. They didn't think they needed to save the first 10% of their money. They didn't think that they need to keep the first 10%. They didn't even think they need to pay themselves. You ask the average millennial, do you pay yourself first? And they're not. They're poor. They're thinking poor. They're thinking poor. You ask the average millennial, do you pay yourself first? And most of them will say no. It's a fact. It's not fiction. It's not an opinion. You ask them. You have to ask these people as your friends, as the society that you're living in. Because if you do not take care of your individual responsibility financially, what do you think these other people are going to do when they can't? They're going to ask the ones that did. That's how you get the student forgiveness loan, right? Why do you need a forgiveness on a loan that was supposed to help you out financially? It's called politically correct. It makes no sense. It's not the truth. They needed to go to school to forgive them for 17,000, 23,000, 45,000, 55,000, 60,000. If they went and got a master's, maybe now we're talking 80 to 100,000 plus. For what? An education. That now when you get out of school, if you don't have the proper financial education, it doesn't matter how much money you're supposed to have made, you're still in debt. Now what? Are you a debt slave? How can you retire properly if you're in debt in retirement? You think this is a game? You think this is a joke? How can you retire adequately if you're in debt? People go buy new cars in retirement. But we already know retirement's not what it used to be. Of course, it's not what it used to be. The elder generations had pensions. They had a little bit of what this is called government assistance. The younger generation says, well, we know government's not going to be there. We probably know our parents aren't going to be there for us. Why? Because they're already underwater. Are they living paycheck to paycheck? Did they take a stimulus check? Have they taken stimulus checks? Are they properly invested? Have they told you, hey, son or daughter, don't worry about it. You won't have to take care of me when I retire. Did your parents say that to you? Or are they saying the opposite? Well, son or daughter, if things get a little rocky, because, I only worked a job my whole life, I never really educated myself properly for finance and education. So, you might have to give me a couple shekels. You might have to support me. I might have to come live with you in your basement. Oh, that won't happen to me as a millennial, because, as a millennial, I think my parents got this. They work for a major company. My mom, she's a doctor, she works for a hospital. It's no way doctors can retire, insolvent. First of all, they live most of their life in debt. We just mentioned to you, how can you adequately retire in debt? Well, well, I think she'll figure it out. I think my mom or my dad will figure it out. They'll figure it out. I'm figuring it out, right? We're the selfish generation, the millennials. Well, we'll all figure it out. That's what the parents told us. They said, well, since the parents didn't get an education, I got to get an education. But it really wasn't a financial education. It was an education that was supposed to help me make more money and not be average, right? That's what you were told. Yay or nay? That the education that we get from a college was it gonna make us a millionaire? No, no, no. We're not gonna become a millionaire as a college a degree, possibly. Our chances may increase over somebody that only has a high school diploma. But guess what? We gotta go into debt just to even say we got a leg up. Right. Education is now sold as debt. That's what debt is. Debt and education are synonymous. And that's why a lot of the millennials don't want to pay for their private education. That's why a lot of the millennials have not done so, because they don't understand how much it costs, because the cost is miscalculated when the so-called student forgiveness loans are out. Well, what's the point of a private education? What's the point of an alternative education? Remember, is that regulated or unregulated? Are we getting education, or are we getting stock tips from Kramer and the boys? Oh, we're getting stock tips. Well, let's go in on this early. We're going to go get penny stocks. Penny stocks? Are you serious? Do you really think that major institutions are just sitting here trading penny stocks? Well, look, I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. I got to figure this out. There's no real trading education out there. It is. Just not a brokerage. The brokerages are where you put the money in and you trade. It's just a platform. The education, that's an education. That's a different story. And that's the issue right now. Is we see the education is not there. People want to be entertained. People want to be distracted from the harsh realities that I got to save $1 million, Christian. Trust Christian in the vault. We got to save millions of dollars. Come on, man. Where are we going to save $1 million? Our parents didn't even save $1 million. We got to go invest. We can't save $1 million. We got to go invest it. We got to go invest some way to find a way to lottery ticket our way to have a retirement that's going to be adequate, because we don't have the government trust Christian in the vault. We don't have, do we have a proper education in investing? We don't want to just depend on the financial advisors. Look what they did to our parents' portfolio. They just got wiped out in 2008, and then in 2020 they got wiped out in COVID, in the situation again. We saw them get wiped out. Their portfolios are average. Their portfolios are giving them, here we go, the 8 to 12% again. That's the average yield. It's not an exact, but can you live off of that right now? We can't trust Christian in the vault. The system is broken. It is. And the millennials know this. It's in their spirit. They were born into a broken system because the their parents knew the same thing they know. They're gonna have to take care of their parents. That's another financial burden. Yeah, I don't know. See, the Americans may not be aware of this, but in other countries, that's what people do. They get their kid in a position where they can take care of them. But the millennials don't want to take care of their parents. That's the difference. It's not that they haven't been groomed to do that. They don't want to because they see that there's a financial windfall that they're going to have to cover. Who knows what the medical expenses for their parents are going to be? Who knows what the housing expenses are going to be for their parents? And that takes away from their millennial freedom to travel around. Who wants to travel around with somebody elderly? Or who wants to house somebody at home when they're not there? And think about their medical fees and think about their well being. It's a retirement myth. That's what it is. And they know it. They know they're not going to retire. They know they're going to work past 65. They hear their parents talking about the age right now. They hear their parents talking about the age past 60, past 65. They hear their parents talking about how much money they get from Social Security or their grandparents get from Social Security. Have you ever asked your parent or grandparent how much they get from Social Security? And think about it. If the Gov has already came out and said the program's insolvent and it's going under, what makes you think you're going to get more? Think about what little bit they take out your check as an employee. But the millennials know this. So they have cognitive dissonance. They're the lost generation. They don't know what to do. A lot of them, they're not going to make it because they're going to depend on these internet websites. They're going to depend on the internet because that's going to be the so-called easiest thing to do. Because going out and starting a real hard business, that's hard. 95% of the businesses fail within the first 5 years. They hear all these stats. They heard them through the internet. They're not trying to deal with those stats. Those odds look against them. 95% of the businesses fail within the first 5 years. We're not doing that. We're going to do investing. Investing's different than a business, correct? Correct. So they're going to go try to get rich quick through some internet website, through some internet app. This is how we're going to do it. That's how the internet babies are thinking. The internet babies are thinking about internet money. They're not thinking about physical money. Why would they? They're internet babies. And that was it. The internet was like the water in the ocean. It's more water than there is land, right? Right. So there's more people to get wiped out. It's just more people to get wiped out. Think about what your parents had to go through. Maybe there are many people that listen to the vault and they actually have solvent parents. This is a truth. There are people's parents that are solvent. But then, do you need to know the numbers? Use your internet, baby? Oh, 80% of the baby boomers and X are going to need somebody to help them take care of them in retirement because you're getting the stats already back that the baby boomers are retiring inadequately. Oh, and then you think your parents who got less than the baby boomer parents, they got these big contracts, they had these, just think about their 401ks and actually having a 401k or IRA and having it matched by a company. Jesus. What did you get, millennials? Did you get that? What a job? Did you get that with your degree that you owe $60,000 and $20,000 on plus? No. And they know this. And they're mad. And they're disgruntled. Well, you see the headwinds that the generation is facing. Don't fall prey to these internet charlatans, as the mentors call them. That's what they are. Anybody can just pop up a booth on the internet highway and say, hey, I'm selling something. Quite a few. And the internet may not be the place you have to go to get the education that you need. Maybe it's in private rooms physically. People think this whole Zoom culture has taken over. What are you talking about? You think a multimillionaire is going to do a deal with you without shaking your hand and meeting you face to face? You're foolish. These people are foolish. Just how you know you've never dealt with money before. You think you're about to get hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. You think through any type of business deal or an investment deal, you think you're good. Would you do business with someone if you couldn't look them in the eyes, face to face, and shake their hand? That's how you know the emotional intelligence and feel has gone down already. When people do not want to meet face to face for an investment or for a business deal, that's how you know their emotional IQ. People think, oh, you got to have EQ, you got to have EQ. How do you have good emotional intelligence and you're not trying to meet someone face to face? Where you can literally feel their energy as resonance. It's called rapport. Those are communication skills. Are you lacking? Are you lacking the face to face communication skills? But you think your internet vetting skills are going to do better than your face to face skills? Are you serious? Did the public school education train you to know how to read people and communicate properly through the internet? Well, yeah, it did because it's social media. Oh, that's how I'm getting my stocks. Remember, I'm getting my stocks through a social media website, right? I mean, that's how we're getting our information. It's through social media, right? That's how we're getting our information. Or are we going to the private environments, the face-to-face environments, even if it was a Toastmasters? That's how you learn how to get your public speaking skills down. Oh no, well, we're going to do only these internet speeches now. We're only going to do we're going to only do these internet things through the Zoom and all this goofy stuff. The face-to-face will never lose. It'll never lose. Oh, people aren't going to go back into commercial real estate when you saw them actually still developing commercial real estate right now. Oh, yeah, guess what? Here we go. Here's for the internet babies real quick. All the millennials, they think they're smarter than everybody because they got the internet. Airbnb is going to be the largest hoteler in the world over the hotelers. Ladies and gentlemen, you think they're not building new hotels? You think the Ritz is not building a hotel? You think the Four Seasons is not building a hotel? Do you think the Hyatt is not building a hotel? You think Hilton's not building hotels? But I thought they were competing against Airbnb, internet babies. I thought they were competing against Airbnb, you millennials. Y'all thought y'all had it all figured out, right? We got to go get this internet money. Right. We got to get the internet money. Well, we see where we are in 2021, going into 22. There's a paradigm shift that's going on when it comes to retirement. What the older people do hold real estate, they might just go into Airbnb, millennials, and then, yeah, they might just rent out their properties to you and you want to go on vacation right now. Millennials and younger. Well, we can see how this is going to go. People say, oh, education is the most important thing. But what if your education in the beginning cost more than how much money you were making? Well, that doesn't make sense, Trust Christian involved. Why do you think people went into debt to get education, to get more money in the first place in college? It's because the education is what cost. The education. And when do you stop investing in your education? You don't. So why do they need student forgiveness loans? Because these people are chronic failures. Oh, Trust Christian involved. I can't believe you said that. How are they a failure? Because they needed a student forgiveness loan. Do you need a mortgage forgiveness loan too? You need a mortgage forgiveness program? Huh? You need a credit card forgiveness program now? How is this a weight on society? Your education is a weight on society? That's how you know you're a failure. Because you didn't get a proper education to even pay it back. That's how you know you're a failure. And many of these people will fail because they don't have a proper financial education. They needed a forgiveness program. They think the financial markets are forgiving. They're not. That's why the retirement myth will remain to be true. Period. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Appreciate Delaware for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate Delaware for tuning in live, listening to replay. Feel free to type into the chat where you listen to live or listen to replay from. We got West Palm Beach, Florida, tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate West Palm for tuning in live, listening in the replay. Once again, we had to do this. So many people, the young millennials saying, well, what options do we have, Trust Christian Vault? What options do we have? But when we have the trading webinar for $500 over at the vault, what happens? Oh man, I can't get on that. That cost. That cost about the same amount as a pair of retro Jordans right there. You know? That's gonna cost how much the whole vacation that I'm going to in Mexico is gonna cost, 500. That's not even my flight. That's less than a round trip. That's more than a round trip ticket, right? On coach, right? You riding coach, right? To go to Mexico. Take trips, right? Instead of planning for your retirement. Then you got a bunch of the millennials. They say, look, when I heard these numbers come out that the parents weren't retiring adequately, the grandparents didn't retire adequately, I had to figure it out. I had to go start a business. I had to make some plans. I had to go do some investing. I took chances. That's what they saying. I got to take chances on this new internet business stuff, because that's where the so-called money is going to be made. They say that the internet's the gold mine. It's the diamond mine. You get something on there, everything's going to go great. Oh, really? You think that's how it works for everybody, right? But then 95% of the businesses fail within the first 5 years. So is it really that you're only seeing 5% of the businesses on the internet that actually won on the internet? Right. Only 5%? Quite a few of the millennials say, look, we got to go get an education. We got to go get this private stuff. We need to know about the things our parents didn't do. We heard about these trust fund babies. We heard about people moving with charities. Oh, all of a sudden now the athletes got charities. Now the so-called celebrities have charities. Everybody wants to have a charity. Why? That's not an employee thought process. Why would an employee need a charity? Well, because I want to do some greater good. But then guess what? Charity is a business. You think you don't make money in charity? You think it's just all about giving money away? When you hear Warren Buffett and them say, I'm not going to give money away to my children, I'm going to give it to charity, his charity. Okay. We hear how this goes. So we had to seek that alternative education. We had to go to Warren Buffett's conference out there at Omaha every year. We had to do that. We had to figure out how to get out there. Why? Think about it. What else could we be doing? We could be going to these theme parks. We could be going to Six Flags. We could be going to Mexico. We could be going to Costa Rica. We could be traveling to Indonesia. We could be backpacking, through Europe right now. But instead, we're going to go to the Omaha conference that, Warren Buffett has, because he's actually one of the richest investors in the United States. And I'm looking to be a part of that 5% that actually wins. Because Warren is known. He's a part of 5%. So let's go associate with the 5%. The retirement myth. Dang, Trust Christian Naval, you telling me I gotta spend $1,500? You trying to tell me I gotta spend thousands of dollars possibly? My round trip ticket to Mexico, now I gotta spend that. I gotta go up to Omaha, I gotta sit in the conference and sit here and see slow draw Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett talk about their portfolio and their investments throughout the year. I'm bigger than that. I'm bigger than Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, Warren Buffett's just old, Ain't that what the millennials saying? Warren Buffett's just old. I think I could make all this happen through these internet apps. I could do that through the internet apps. Warren Buffett, is he invested in these internet apps? Oh, I could make more money than Warren Buffett can through the internet apps. Don't play with me. I got this internet money. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Alrighty. We see where the marketplace is. Ego. You think if you didn't get a proper education in public school, how are you going to adequately move forward if you don't go sit around other people that are successful in finance and investing? But oh no, I'm going to go get around this Bitcoin guy. You know, I'm gonna go get around this guy because he's blown up through crypto. Supposedly, he's driving a Rolls Royce. It looks like it. He's renting out these facilities. It looks like it. Everything's looking good over here. I mean, they're making this internet money look like real estate's a joke. They're making. Hold on. The internet supposedly is making farming look like a joke. Really? Hmm. Okay. Okay. We gotta go get this internet money. That's what we saying. That's what the millennials are saying. Biggest investors in the world right now, biggest successful businesses in the world right now, almost have a product. For the most part, have a product. Then you get a few that are services, but remember, when you talk about the servicing companies, such as a big name like Amazon, they still have a proprietary technology. So they're really a technology company, which means they have a product. But they are a servicer. They're a product. Uber, people try to say, oh, Uber's the largest taxi company. How? They're not a taxi company. They're a technology company. They're a technology company. They develop technology. Are you serious? This is the idiotic, moronic type of thought process of lack of education. People purporting out here. Oh, well, Uber's what they call this? Some goddamn driving car company. It's not. It's a technology company. They develop technology, whether it's a software or hardware. Software is still a product. Oh man, we try to get away from that product based stuff, because we got the internet marketers. The internet marketers are going to show us how to market our internet, our product, right? That's the game, right? So then we go over to a Google or Facebook. There's still a proprietary technology. That's how fast the marketers got away from sharing with you that you got to develop something. You truly have to develop something in the marketplace today. Not just as an investor or entrepreneur. Develop something, create something. Well, I just want to do what everybody else is doing. That's the retirement myth. Here's the retirement myth for the millennials right now. I'm going to get rich off the internet. I'm going to figure it out through the internet. The internet is my ticket, my golden ticket. That's what it is. The internet. You don't even know how pitiful that sounds to know that a generation of people are depending. They're depending. They don't know how to wave down a taxi. You don't know how to pay a taxi. No, we're going to develop all of this metaverse. We're going to develop the metaverse. We're going to develop this artificial world. That's what we're going to do. We're going to create these so-called fake monies in this token universe. But it's not called the universe because that's stealing proprietary, which is God's. We're going to go steal it. And we're not going to steal it. We're going to create this new what? Metaverse. Where we can create a new money. Like we need new money. The dollar's accepted all around the goddamn world. What are you talking about? Get new money. Do you want to accept other countries' money? Where their rate of exchange is different? Well, no, we need to get rid of that anyways. We need to go to shareholder capitalism around the world. Everybody needs to live the same life. Did you buy into the myth? Millennials, did you buy into the myth that we're all created equal and we're all supposed to retire on the same amount of money? Where are this misinformation coming from? Maybe from the same place that told you they're gonna give you a student forgiveness loan. Maybe the same place that told you to mortgage out your education. It's a mortgage on your education. But then we go get a mortgage on the house. How are we gonna adequately retire when we got a mortgage on the majority of our life? How can we adequately retire? We have a majority most of our life. Whether that's through a student loan, whether that's through a car, whether that's through a house. We weren't given a proper financial education, Trust Christian and also after the 70s when Robert Kiyosaki blew up, we knew that we needed to seek alternative education. Okay? We did seek alternative education. But how many people still got gunpowder at 30? Do you know what the average savings they say a millennial has? They say the average millennial has less than $20,000 in savings. Do you know how pitiful that sounds? You've been working for over 10 years. Let's just say you graduated from college in your 2022. So for 8 years, they weren't even able to save $20,000 for the most part up until they were 30. Then what happened when they got to 30? When they went from 30 to 40, do they literally have 40 to $50,000 saved to go out and do investments? You gotta have gunpowder. How are you going to invest if you don't have gunpowder? Because they went to Mexico, because they went to Costa Rica, because they went to backpack through Europe. You know, we want to go to Australia. Right. We didn't want to go to the Omaha conference every year, same time every year. We don't want to go see paint dry with Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger speaking. We don't want to do that. Why would we do that, Trust Christian in the Vault? That I don't even know how to do that. My parents didn't do that. Why would I go do that? Right. Excuses, excuses. And the millennials will feel this as they continue to grow and they see that they are not saving, and they will see that their investments are not growing at the 800% that they think they're growing right now, or the thousands of percent that they're growing right now in the immediate inception of the internet, where we're really seeing an emerging technology and bubbles in an emerging technology in an emerging market. That's all we're seeing. You've seen bubbles in real estate since it started. What mortgages? You've seen bubbles in that market. So why would you not continue to see bubbles in the internet? But for some odd reason, these people think that, oh no, we can't call it internet bubble. Why? Because if we do, that means a lot of people are going to lose some money here soon. Exactly. And that's what's happened. Do you see? It's cycles now. It's cycles. And there's a retirement myth that the cycles you're going to be able to live through and make it through without a proper education. Because far too long have so many people been uneducated in finance that it's just normal. We talked to this one year lady, she's over 50 years old. She said, I don't like talking about finance. It hurts my brain. Are you serious? And that's why you're poor. Because you don't want to talk about the thing that literally is in your life, whether it's to eat good food, whether it's you even working a job. If you're working a job, you still are touching money. There is a adequate financial education that should be employed. Why? Because now we have to learn that dollars are commodities. It's like food. We have to know how to trade our dollars to grow our dollars, quote unquote, in investing environments, in business environments. That is what we've learned, or we've have to learn, because we see that, guess what? There's a retirement myth. If we don't, we're going to be like our parents, our grandparents, needing our children to take care of us, or the government to take care of you, or the community to take care of you. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. This is where we are, ladies and gentlemen, 2021 going into 2022. How many people are prepared for these moments? This is not an accident. This is not a game. The retirement myth is on people. People say, oh, well, what happened to the myth of having a job, working for 30 years, getting a mortgage for 30 years, getting a white picket fence, and that's that. Guess what? The millennials that got the degrees, they know that's not true. They know that's not true, especially the ones that are over 35. They know that's not true. Oh, man. What do you mean, Trust Christian in the Vault? We're getting mortgages. Exactly, because none of you all are buying houses cash. But you're getting internet money, though, right? When you're 30 to 40, the ones from 30 to 40, y'all getting the internet money. What about the ones from 20 to 30 that's supposedly getting internet money? Did y'all buy the house cash? What do you need a mortgage for? Those are for people that don't have the money, right? Right. They know, oh, well, the education has got about 30, 40,000 in debt. There's no way I'm going to go out here and get a mortgage. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to have more debt on my name. Isn't that what the millennials saying? I don't want to have no debt on my name. Exactly. I don't want to deal with that type of stuff. I don't want to cut grass. I just want to share the house and live in it. That's what the millennials saying. They want to live in. They want to just share the house. They don't even want to clean it. I don't want to cut grass. I just want to feed my dog. I just want to walk my dog. Right? Right. Well, there's no need to talk about the myth any longer. Because it is that. And since we know that it's a myth, on this episode, we're going to share that it's not just, oh, I need to go get a financial education. Where am I going to get that? Trust Christian in the Vault. You can come to the Vault, consultations. It's a private education. It's a continuing education. You guys can feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. What more do we need to say about this? It's a 911 for the millennials. It's an alert for the millennials. They know it's a red flag screaming loud for them. And guess what? Less than 20% of them are going to do something about it. Y'all think that's a game? Less than 20% will do something about it. Quite a few people are going to get wiped out. People haven't really seen what it looks like to have such a large number of people that will be in dependent positions because there's billions of people on the planet. 1950 didn't even have 4 billion people. The population has doubled in the world easily. And now we see that there are people that have just become part of the system, but they didn't develop the system. We are called to develop the system, because if not, you're just fuel for the fodder. 80% are done. And the government has these programs, and we're sure a couple millennials are listening. They'll try to pass some law to help themselves out in retirement. That's why they got the student forgiveness loan program, because they needed to get a program to help them out, so when they get to retirement, they didn't give all their money away back to some education that they may not even be doing anymore. They may be driving Uber at 60 years old and were a speech therapist. Was a speech pathologist, speech therapist. You would think they made some money. You would think they got a degree, a quality degree. The degree was so quality that what? That guess what? They're driving Uber at 60 years old plus. And when the millennials hear something like that, when they're sitting in the car and they hear something like that in an Uber ride, it is terrifying. It is terrifying for them to know that. And for that reason, they're not buying it. None of the BS. It's called BS. And they're done with it. We have workshops at the Vault. Christian at trustchristian.com is how to get to our next workshop. We'll do our next workshop in 2022. First quarter for sure. You gotta have those environments where you can go and be around other investors, other people that what you would consider like mine. Why? Because the 20% has to commune and congregate together, specifically face to face. They're the ones that are moving the money anyways. The 80%, they're just consumers. If you're not a consumer, you got to invest in your education, and that's where it's at. What makes you think you're not going to live well at 40? What makes you think you're not going to live well at 60 if you invest in your education even in your 30s? But so many say, "Oh, I remember coming up, so many mentors would say, or people would say, man, after I graduated from college, I never was going to read another book." Right. And you see where they're at now. The mentors that did actually start reading, but they said that they're different. Their lives are different. But the ones that didn't, they just never read again, read books, whatever. They didn't want to improve their financial education. Now you see why they're asking for their kids to give them some money for their retirement. And if you're not looking to be in that position, an investment in your private education is what it's always going to be about. Christian at trustchristian.com. Once again, Christian at trustchristian.com. We're working on some things right now over at the Vault to bring to some of the listeners about some of the cases. Actually bringing in legal scholars for you all. So just be on the lookout for that. Christian at trustchristian.com is the email. Once again, look forward to hearing from you all. We got Harlem, New York for tuning in live, listening, replay. Always appreciate Harlem, New York for tuning in live, listening, and replay. Feel free to reach out Christian at trustchristian.com. Look forward to hearing from you all. Peace.